Hey guys, Christmas is fast approaching, so what better time to do a video on Santa himself than now? So we got a champion spotlight on Sir Nick today. I don't have one myself, but I did get some footage of him when I jumped over on Dark Prism's account for that Blood Gorge video. So I've saved that till now, and we can take a look at him in pretty much everywhere in the game. I think I took him into all the dungeons. We got some arena footage as well. Took him into campaign. So kind of show you the basic guidelines for building him, and then we'll take a look at him all over the place. He is an absolute hyper carry in Spider, but he is good in any of the dungeons. He's a Void legendary, so basically you can get away with him on any team in the game. So hopefully Santa will bring you a Santa, but let's jump over onto Dark Prism's account and take a look at the crazy nukes this guy can do. And he is going to do that on his A2 AoE. Also places a huge shield, also that is going to be equal to his damage, so you do want to build him for damage if you want that shield to be big. Then he's also got unkillable and continuous healing on his allies for 2 turns on his A3, and his A1 has a chance to put a freeze out for you, and that cannot be resisted, so you don't even need to build accuracy on him. Absolutely crazy champion. He's got a little bit of everything. He's got CC, he's got protection, he's got damage, he's got it all. So starting off with a pretty huge base health there. Attack he doesn't need. Defense is also pretty solid. And then great speed for an HP based champion. Crit rate is standard as always. Crit damage is on the low end of things. It's not the 63% that you get on some of the attack based champions. And then we do have a little bit of resist there. But all of his damage is going to come from HP. And he does hit like an absolute truck. So let's take a look at how Dark Prism has his built. So it looks like we're in a speed set, a crit damage set, and another speed set here, divine speed. And what do we got on? We have crit rate gloves. Then we've got HP on the chest, of course. A little bit of resistance there, some speed. And then we've got HP on the boots, speed boots, of course. Defense, crit rate, crit damage, HP, crit rate, and speed. Crit damage, HP, speed, accuracy, and then speed, accuracy, HP, and crit damage. Let's take a look at the accessories as well. We've got HP on the ring with 1 roll there. We could get a couple more and that would be great. We're gonna go crit damage on the amulet with a good HP roll there. And then on the banner, we are also going HP and we're looking for speed there. So nice if we could get a little bit of a percentage rolls here instead of these flat defense, but that is good good speed on this banner, so that is what we went with there. And overall this is going to be a very solid build. You could get even crazier damage out of him if you could get him into crit damage gauntlets instead of these crit rate, but as we will see, he does plenty of damage even just in crit rate gauntlets, and this is probably an easier option for most people to go to max out that crit. So let's move on. Let's go ahead and take him into campaign and see what kind of damage he can put out here on 12-3. Already put him in there, and we are going to lay out some nukes. So it looks like about 60, 70k there on the nukes, and not bad. 8-second campaign farmer. So if you did pull him early, you could definitely use him as your campaign farmer. That's probably not going to be his primary job for you, but he can actually farm campaign pretty fast as long as you give him the Cycle of Violence mastery to reset that cooldown if he does deal enough damage. So we'll take a look at the masteries here. This is the one I was talking about. 30% chance of decreasing cooldown if it exceeds 30% of the target's max HP. And then we've got some other nuker type builds here in the offense tree. We did go into Helm Smasher for some extra damage from ignoring defense. And then over here on this side, we took the larger shields, increased turn meter when a buff is removed or expires. And then we got increase the healing and shield buffs again, and then lasting gifts to increase the duration. And let's go ahead and take him into some dungeons. Let's see what we can do here. So let's just take Gerbtech out. We'll do a little bit less damage with our Septimuses here, but we'll just throw him into this current team and see if this works out for us. And maybe it'll keep them alive long enough to get another hit in on the spider if it isn't quite enough to just one-shot it. So we got our debuffs with Lydia. She's going again. There's that gigantic shield from Sir Nick, and that is about as big as you would expect from a Frank, to be honest. So crazy huge shield there from Sir Nick, and we should be knocking this out pretty quickly here. Hopefully the spider doesn't get a turn. We're close, and there we go. So knocked out the spider in 29 seconds. Let's take him somewhere else. We can basically run him anywhere as a Void Champion. He is going to do some serious work for us in any of the waves and good damage on any of the bosses. Let's go ahead and take him into the Dragon. See who we're running here in Dragon. We'll take Blood Gorged out. That was from the previous video. And we'll just drop him in. Should work out just fine. Venus in good enough gear can basically solo the Dragon by herself. So we are going to do a pretty decent time here. Just slapping him into this team. Look at that damage. Big old nukes. There's the healing and the unkillable. Big smack from Royal Guard. And almost through the second wave there. There we go. So we are going to definitely do this in under a minute, I do believe. Venus is getting our debuffs back up there for us. We got Unkillable on again, as if we needed it, and tons of continuous heals from Bad L and Santa here. And a lot of poisons already stacked up there. And I believe we'll get done in under a minute. Let's see if it, yep, there we go. So 55 seconds, just under a minute. So you can see the damage here. Sir Nick did quite a bit for us. Outshined by some of the other ones that are doing a little bit crazier damage. Obviously Royal Guard is pumping out some insane damage for us, and we should be able to take him into Ice Golem as well. Those shields will help keep you alive when the Ice Golem does his big Retribution Slam. So we'll just take Blood Gorged out and put him in this team as well. This should still work out fine for us, and should be a little safer than that Blood Gorged run was in the previous video. So, big hit from Royal Guard. Our shields, we got Unkillable. We are in no danger here. And there's a 41,000 hit on that last enemy there from Sir Nick. Got our shields back up, so that'll help soak up a little bit of the damage if these shrieks go off on these horrible terror beasts on this wave. But not a big deal. If they do, we will be fine. We got Arbiter to bring us back. And then of course we've got these huge shields soaking up the damage anyways. So not worried about them at all on this team right now. This is obviously a very stacked team. And hopefully we can still get a pretty good time. There we see a freeze out from Sir Nick. And then Tyrell, for good measure, went in and stunned him up anyways as well. So he ain't going anywhere. Keep it up. So his continuous heals will be very helpful on the Ice Golem. If you can bring your Sir Nick in here, he will help keep you alive for sure. All right, here we are at the end screen. We came out with a time of 2:50, so not a speed run. He is not a Royal Guard or a Seer, but he did put out a good chunk of damage there for us. 1.4 mil, only behind the Royal Guard here, of course, at 3 mil. Tyrell did pretty good chunk there at 600k, and then Listen Arbiter were just there for support. So definitely not a bad run, and we're gonna sell that for him. Always low on space, and you know he can definitely help here a lot. Increases your survivability by a ton, so will help you complete Ice Golem. And let's take a look at Fire Knight. Fire Knight is definitely going to be the weakest of his dungeons. He's not bringing a multi-hit or anything else, but he is bringing protection for the waves. So if you are struggling in the waves here on Fire Knight, he will definitely come into the team and help you out a bunch for survivability. When we get to the boss itself, he's going to be a little weaker than some other options, but I think that this team is pretty stacked, so we should have no real problems regardless. So there we go, big old shields. And again, he is Void, so it doesn't matter what affinity we're up against, he is still gonna smack things down. There's Zavia throwing out a ton of poisons. We got Tomb Lord in here also throwing out a ton of poisons for that Zavia to combust. And we are almost through wave 1 here. Thank you, Sir Nick. Got a freeze off. Excellent. And we should be coming back around to our big abilities here shortly. There's the poisons from Tomb Lord. Zavia is going to combust those for us here in just a second. Decreased defense and attack out from our Tomb Lord, and then he also puts out decreased speed. Fantastic champion, definitely underrated as well. And we are almost through wave 2 in a minute. On to the Fire Knight itself. And like I said, this is where he's not going to bring quite as much as some other options that you could put in here, but he did help us get through the waves for sure. Lysandra is an absolute goddess in Fire Knight and pretty much anywhere else. So she is going to be taking care of that turn meter along with Coldheart. And actually, Tomb Lord also has some turn meter control, so he's going to be helping out a bit with that as well. We got the decreased speed on there from him. Big ol' smack there from our Sir Nick. You can see the shield isn't quite as crazy here when he's only hitting one enemy, but that is still a pretty decent sized shield there. But we are in no danger of the Fire Knight getting a turn regardless, so we don't really need it here. And there it is. So exactly 2 minutes on Fire Knight, which is a pretty good time. Obviously we've got a lot of help here from Zavia and Tomb Lord doing a ton of damage for us, and then Coldheart is an MVP as well. So great team here for Fire Knight. Don't necessarily need Sir Nick in here, but he could definitely help you if you did pull him earlier game, get through those waves and everything else. So fantastic in basically any of the dungeons. Obviously any of the keeps he's going to be fine. You could probably solo any of the keeps. So we are up here in Plat Arena. It is reset night, so this is going to be rough going in Plat for sure. And we are just going to try to fit him in here on some teams. So he would probably come in on a kind of a defensive, obnoxious team for you. Not going to be as crazy of a nuker for sure as, you know, your Trundas or your Foleys, but he could definitely help out on a defense. So we will throw him in there, and then who else do we want to put in here on defense? We're going to be up against a Torment, so that's going to be annoying. Sifi will help with that for sure. We could just go for a Warlord and try to lock them out. This Warlord is very well built as well. And we got an all void team going on here, and let's just see how long it takes to whittle this other team down here and see if we can even beat them at all. These are all going to be fantastic teams here in Plat on reset night, so we're just going to throw this on auto and see how it goes. We got Sifi and Arbiter doing what they do. Very fast Sifi here. I believe she's at 265 and Arbiter isn't too far behind. So we have an amazing amount of control here. We might get some stuns from Santa, but we've also got Warlord to lock them all out. We're going to have huge shields from Warlord as well. Not as big as Santa's here, but big shields from both of them. And hopefully we can keep from getting frozen up too often. There's a bunch of freezes, speaking of that. But they don't have a ton of damage on this team, so hopefully eventually we can whittle them down. And this is kind of what you want to do on a defense team for Plat, is just have a really obnoxious team that's going to take forever to kill, which is exactly what we've got here. And it looks like it's kind of what they were going for on that side as well. All right, we're coming up on the end here. Sir Nick just smacked down Arbiter, and it looks like we've got this in the bag. Just have to finish off this Torment, and we will be done. So took a while. Obviously we don't have a legitimate, attack-based nuker in here, but Sir Nick has come in for the damage, and it's kind of been an obnoxious stall defense team against another obnoxious stall defense team. So we'll take a look here at the damage. Sir Nick, obviously the bulk of it, 257k there compared to everyone else here in the 20s and 30s. So definitely worked for us eventually, but it did take about 3 minutes. So obviously if we threw in, you know, his Trunda or something else, that would have gone a lot faster. But that was kind of an example of how he would work for you on defense. But I think that is going to be an example of kind of his main use for Arena. If you're obviously coming up through Gold 4, he's going to be huge for you. He can do both defense and offense there, and you know, he is going to almost make it onto every single one of your teams if you do pull him early. So fantastic champion, and 'tis the season, so I thought I would do a real quick spotlight of Sir Nick Santa and show you where he can be used, which is everywhere.